Well, this tenure as Austin city manager lasted nearly 9 years before accepting a job in Washington, D.C. back in 2016. And today we welcome a familiar face here at KXAN back to us. Speaking, of course, about Marc Ott. Marc, thank you for joining us from Washington.
Oh, Robert, it's my pleasure. It's good to talk to you and good to talk to an Austin audience.
Well, thank you. And Marc, after such a long tenure as city manager here, you experienced your fair share of challenges, as we all remember. Assuming you've been keeping a watch on Austin from afar, how would you evaluate the city's response to COVID-19 so far?
Well, we all know that, the impact of COVID has been pervasive and, raised some really, significant challenges for cities and leaders all over the world. I think Austin has been a leader in terms of being one of the first to step up and make, the hard decisions that have been associated with the response on this. The example that I would use, Robert, is their decision to cancel South by Southwest. Again, having been the city manager here previously, I know just how hard a decision that was and what the impact has been economically. And that was a tough call, but I think the right call. And local government leaders, city managers, county administrators, and elected officials are making those hard calls every day, looking out for the public's health and safety.
Yeah, it was a real shock when South by was canceled. Well, coming up in 5 days, we're anticipating a plan from Governor Greg Abbott to open up Texas' economy. What's your stance on reopening communities at this stage of the pandemic?
Well, you're going to have to reopen at some point, and I know we're going down that path. But I guess what I would tell you is that it's important to make these decisions about how we reopen, being mindful, of the public's health and safety first. That's first, and making those decisions, looking through the prism of COVID-19, making sure that we're taking into account how we need to keep people safe first.
And finally, we mentioned your work in Washington now. You're the executive director of the International City County Management Association. Can you tell us about your organization and what you've been able to accomplish in your time there?
Yeah, it's been great to be in Washington. As we were talking before, I absolutely miss Austin, Texas, and I come back every chance I get. But since I've been in D.C. and since I've been leading ICMA, I've had the opportunity to travel the world and see, local government leaders all over the world doing what they've done for a long time, and that is providing the day-to-day services that are vital to the quality of life in the communities they serve and for the people that they serve. And in all of those places, in all of my travels, I see how creative and innovative and how agile local leaders are all the time, and how that is even more important right now during the challenges that we are all facing relative to COVID-19.
Sounds like you have an interesting job, Marc. A former Austin City Manager and current ICMA Executive Director, Marc Ott. Thank you for joining us from Washington.
Thank you, Robert.